Hello, this is Carl Freund again from Cambrian-AI Research, and I've got another video for you, this time with Ziad Asghar of Qualcomm. Ziad, welcome on board.
Thank you for having me, Carl.
Real pleasure to have you. I've always enjoyed listening to you talk about the Qualcomm strategy, and you guys are doing some amazing stuff both in mobile and data center and in the Internet of Things. So why don't we just start there? Could you just tell us about the AI development at Qualcomm and the role you hope Qualcomm will play in the future of AI?
Yeah, I think from a Qualcomm perspective, Carl, we've been investing in AI for more than a decade. And that's really because we saw the need. We saw that all the products that we work on, all the technologies that we work on will benefit from AI. So when we started the research more than 10 years ago, we basically did various acquisitions and we have had our corporate R&D team working on it. And what we were able to show, as you notice, or as you remember from our launch last year, is a completely new architecture on the hardware side, a completely redesign of the software to be able to get even more out of the AI processing that we're putting into the device. And that got us to almost 26 trillion operations per second capability with almost 3 times better power efficiency than what we could do on previous products. And that's really what makes it work on edge devices, because you got to be able to do AI processing, but you got to be able to do it with the right power envelope. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure. You guys really kind of blew the field away in power efficiency on the recent ML benchmark. So congratulations, job well done. And power efficiency is especially important on the edge and mobile. So can you tell us about some of the innovations Snapdragon mobile users enjoy today? They probably don't even know they're using AI. It's so transparent and easy to use, but maybe you can describe some of the benefits it's delivering today.
Definitely. So any user, any person who uses Snapdragon today is already benefiting from AI technology. And the areas where you see AI really flourish and bring in the advantage are basically the areas that pertain to senses. So think about it this way, that if you're talking about sound, if you're talking about voice and audio, if you're talking about imaging, these are the things where with AI, we're enabling our devices to really be able to understand the kind of stimulus and data that they're getting in. And once they know that, they're able to actually process it in a very, very special way that completely enhances the experience. So the areas that we really started with were things like echo cancellation. That was because AI in the device can say or can understand where the echo is and where the actual signal is, and we're able to separate that. Now think about it this way, that we're going to take the next step now, where the device is able to understand what you are saying. So the first step of that was, of course, keywords. So right, when you say a certain keyword, we are able to detect that. And the next step of that is actual proper natural language processing, which means that you have things like, actual live assistants on your device, completely running on the device. No need for your data or information to go off to the cloud. Similarly, on the imaging side, you are able to see in the darkest of rooms, because now we can apply AI and take away all of that noise from the image and be able to get the signal back out. You're able to actually combine multiple cameras that we enable on our Snapdragon, like 3 concurrent ISPs, and be able to stitch together those 3 signals seamlessly without the consumer knowing, to be able to do things like depth perception and give you the best in class bokeh effects. And not just do that for imaging, now we're extending that into video. So you can see that all the things that you touch and use on your device today are benefiting from AI. And then we're extending that further into all the different product segments that we deal with. So not just mobile, but also IoT, but also auto and all the other areas, right? So we continue to expand those benefits into all the different areas that we're looking at. And then the next layer of that onion is really to apply AI to all the different technologies that we have inside our Snapdragon products.
Wow, very cool. So as you design your hardware and design your software, you have to kind of anticipate what's next, right? Because we all like to keep our mobile devices for a year or two usually, and we want to take advantage of the new features as they come along. What kind of new models do you see coming to play and that you're focused on enabling on the Snapdragon platform?
Right. So, we of course watch what's happening in academia. We contribute to many of the key conferences, as you know, from our corporate R&D teams. We're continually working on new techniques, but we watch it very, very closely. So, like one of the recent phenomenons, Carl, has been the advent of transformer networks, and that's mostly coming from natural language processing. What we're also seeing is that the models are becoming actually bigger. So, corresponding to that, we are changing the topology of the hardware that we implement. Right? We're doing more in terms of shared memory, like we talked about with the Snapdragon 888. We actually increase that shared memory between our vector, scalar, and tensor processors inside the hardware by a factor of 16, for example, right? Because we know that we need to have those weights and activations and the model resident in memory to be able to get best in class power. At the same time, we continue to look at non-linear functions. We also look at the new trends that are coming with models like BERT. And we have the ability to be able to run all of those on the device. So we're squeezing more and more out of the device, but we continue to squeeze the hardware. We are continually modifying the software to be able to make that work in the best way possible.
Yeah, memory tends to be the problem as you get larger and larger models. You don't want to put the memory off someplace that's multiple cycles away from the processor. You guys did a really good job with the 888, getting very large models to run on your smartphone. That's amazing.
And you'll
So
see, by the way, a lot more of that, Carl, incoming, right? So we are continually watching the
yeah.
market. And what maybe I didn't talk about as much as we also do like always on AI use cases. So
Mhm.
that's a different set of use cases. That's a different set of hardware and software that we have built to be able to have use cases that run all day long. That's a whole different angle. So we're covering all the bases on AI.
And always on at low power. I mean, that's the key, right? You don't want to be
Absolutely.
siphoning off about a bunch of battery power waiting for a wake word.
Exactly.
So that's really good technology. What other areas do you foresee AI being applied, and that Qualcomm is interested in exploiting your technologies? What kind of outside of mobile and cloud? What else do you see that's interesting?
Yeah, so we're tracking this a lot. The good part, see, our approach is we invest in mobile, of course, first, and then we are able to extend that into new areas. So think about it this way. PCs, Windows on Snapdragon is a big initiative that we have. So we can extend many of these technologies into PCs right away with AI application to productivity. But there's so much that can be done over there, so much more. And at the same time, we are going to extend that into automotive. As you know, it's starting with ADAS, but really extends into autonomy. And it really goes from level one or level two level of autonomy and all the way to level four, level five, which requires a lot more in terms of being able to get multiple sensors data to make sense of that and then make decisions based on that, which is the true purpose of AI, honestly. Right? So we're doing a lot more there. At the same time, we are applying AI to our IoT area in the context of smart cities, in the context of smart retail, or what we call big IoT. And you see multiple devices working together. And what you can do is you can apply 5G in conjunction with AI to really come to this notion that we talk about, which is distributed intelligence, where all these devices have a certain amount of intelligence in them. And then 5G is what allows you to kind of bind them all together and be able to share information between them at breathtaking speed and at the lowest latency possible. So really 5G AI technologies that work together and are able to get more and more benefit to the consumers.
That's great. That's great. I know one of my favorite features to talk about is on the Surface Pro, where the Snapdragon is able to adjust your eyes. So right now, I'm not looking at a camera, right? I'm looking at my image, but if I look at the camera, it looks better. And you're able to do that all with AI software transparently. Unfortunately,
That
my PC on my desktop doesn't do that. So if you could
exactly.
work on that for me, I'd appreciate it.
But
That's
that's
really
base
cool stuff.
correction. But you can think of all the other things that we can be doing right now, just in the way we write our emails or we schedule our meetings. There is so much application of AI there that we are just waiting to, get done on our projects.
Yeah, and, a lot of people like to talk about the replacement of humans. AI will replace humans. I think it augments humans. It allows people to focus on what the things only people can do and add more
Absolutely.
value. It's so
Absolutely right.
cool.
So it takes away, in my opinion, Carl, the mundane or the tasks that humans are not meant to do. Right? It's the repetitive stuff. It's the stuff that You can envision, right? I always give this example. You have there's so many video cameras that are perhaps at a cross section or an intersection in a city. You can have a human sitting over there and watching that video to see if an accident happens, or you can have AI that basically comes in and says, yeah, yeah, we can basically do this. And humans, of course, continue to do more advanced things, things where our intelligence is far ahead of what we can do with AI on device, right? That's where human value comes in. So I really agree with you. It's augmentation rather than replacement.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so this is kind of a trick question because I know you can't answer it, but I'll ask it anyway. I'm looking forward to this Snapdragon Summit this later this year. And I'm wondering what you could share that we might be able to expect from QTI regarding AI in the next year or two. What's next?
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff that you will see, Carl, at the Tech Summit. But I'll give you a couple of maybe hints. I think you will see us applying AI to newer areas where you'll be able to get significantly more advantage out of what we already have in terms of hardware and software capability. You will also see that we continue to really lead the pack in terms of performance per unit power, which is inferences per second per watt, but then
Mhm.
continue to add much more on the always on use cases, because I think we are seeing the value, the OEMs and our customers are seeing the benefits of having those use cases come in, because it really again takes away a lot of that mundane work that you have to do with your devices. So definitely a lot more. Stay tuned, and you'll definitely see some lot of exciting stuff at the Tech Summit.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us today. It's been delightful, and I look forward to talking with you soon. And we look forward to hearing more about the exciting work at QTI in really fostering the adoption of AI in a transparent way for users. Thank you again, Ziad. Great to see you, and take care and stay well.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Always enjoy the discussions with you.